The forbidden path to your inner empire. Why only the brave awaken the dark gifts. There's a part of you that's been waiting in silence, unseen, unacknowledged. A voice beneath the surface that doesn't speak in words but in electric instincts, gut reactions, dreams that disturb you, and a primal knowing that you are not normal. You never were. This voice isn't your ego, it's the shadow you've been taught to fear. And yet, it holds the very power you've been begging the universe to give you. Not the light and love version of power that's easy to digest, but the ancient, raw, unfiltered dark power that only the chosen ones can survive. Because to wield it, you must first face it. And that's what we're doing now. You didn't find this video. Your soul dragged you here. Because it's time to remember what you really are. The dark is not evil. That's the first lie you must dissolve. The dark is unclaimed power. It's the part of you that holds memory, mastery, and magic from lifetimes you've buried. And it's also the part of you that can't be controlled by this world. That's why they taught you to fear it. Because once you unlock your inner dark, you stop obeying systems. You stop people-pleasing. You stop leaking your energy to illusions. You become a sovereign force. And that's dangerous to the matrix, but liberating to your soul. The shadow rituals I'm about to give you aren't aesthetic games. They're spiritual technology. Each one is a code, a living formula passed through secrecy, designed to unlock the dormant dark frequencies that live inside your astral body. And when done with full presence, they change everything. The first ritual is called the Mirror of Reversal. At first, it sounds simple, but it's more profound than any affirmation you've ever used. You stand in front of a mirror completely still, completely silent, not to admire yourself, not to judge your appearance, but to reverse the gaze. You must look into your reflection until you no longer recognize yourself as you. You do this in a dark room, low candlelight. Breathe slowly. No music, no movement, just stare. Let the image in the mirror distort. You'll start to see flickers, shadows behind your eyes, ancestral faces, even other versions of you. Don't flinch. Don't break the gaze. This is your shadow stepping forward. It's been waiting for your permission to speak. And when it does, it will show you where your power has been hidden. You'll feel fear at first. That's normal. You're not afraid of what's in the mirror. You're afraid of what you'll become once you reclaim what you see. This ritual is not about summoning demons. It's about summoning your truth. The parts of you that got fragmented by trauma, rejection, shame. Every time you were told you're too much, you're too intense, you're too emotional, a piece of your power got sealed inside your shadow. And this ritual brings it back. But here's the key. You must not speak during the ritual. Words trap the energy in rationality. You need to feel it, not explain it. After 11 minutes of steady gaze, close your eyes, breathe. Then speak only one sentence aloud. I receive what was once refused. That signals your system to reintegrate the power you just made contact with. You may cry. You may laugh. You may feel like your skin is vibrating. Good. That's activation. So let me ask you something you've never dared to ask yourself. What if the version of you you've been trying to fix is actually the version of you that was never broken, just buried? What if the darkness isn't the opposite of light, but the womb of light, the space where real transformation begins? What if your soul didn't come here to escape the dark, but to master it? That was the first ritual, and it was just the beginning. The Portal of Rage, how Shadow Ritual 2 unlocks astral authority over time, pain, and power. We've been told to fear our anger, to suppress it, to meditate it away, to shame it until it dissolves into numbness or politeness. But for the chosen ones, anger is not a weakness. It's a key, a gate, and a portal. And if you've ever felt rage that burned so deep it scared even you good, that means your power is still alive. Rage is a sacred signal that you've been violated, diminished, or disconnected from your truth. But more than that, it's a raw surge of creative force. When transmuted, rage becomes command. It becomes clarity. It becomes the kind of unshakable presence that bends timelines and breaks curses. That's why the second shadow ritual is not about controlling your anger, it's about activating it consciously. The second ritual is called the Portal of Rage. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's for those who are ready to stop hiding their fire. You begin by creating a sacred space, no distractions, no technology, no people. This is between you, your body, and your shadow. You light a single black candle, not white. You're not calling in peace, you're calling in power. Then you sit in stillness and write down every single moment in your life where you were silenced, betrayed, manipulated, or made to feel small. Don't filter. Don't spiritualize. Don't make excuses for anyone. Just write. Let the raw truth pour out. Let the fire build. After writing, you stand. You read each sentence aloud, and with each one, you scream, growl, sob, shake, or move your body in whatever way your shadow demands. This is not performance. This is purging. Your voice is the frequency that breaks the cords. Your body is the vessel that releases the stored rage from your nervous system. You are not being dramatic. You are reclaiming your authority. You are telling the astral field, I am no longer a victim of this. You are not doing harm. You are doing alchemy. And if you do this fully, you will feel something crack, like a chain snapping in the soul, like the past being rewritten in real time. This ritual is ancient. Shamans, warriors, priestesses, and mystics used it in secret because they knew repressed rage becomes illness, but released rage becomes sovereignty. The chosen ones are not here to be polite. We are here to be clear. And when your rage is aligned with your higher self, it becomes a laser of truth. It burns through illusions. It frees timelines. It calls back every piece of your soul that was scattered when you were told to be quiet or be nice. But here's something no one tells you. After this ritual, your aura will change. People will feel it. You won't have to speak louder. You'll speak softer, and they'll listen. You won't need to demand respect. You'll radiate it. Why? Because you've cleared the static that kept your field distorted. You've anchored your power not in arrogance, but in embodiment. And that's what the astral realm responds to. Not performance, not appearance, presence, real, grounded, I am, not hiding anymore presence. So let me ask you the question most fear to ask. What if your anger wasn't something to heal, but something to harness? What if the very emotion you've been told would destroy you was placed in you to protect you? What if your rage is the roar of your higher self, fighting to be heard? You are not here to be tamed. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to remember what you are when nothing and no one owns your fire. And now you've opened the second gate. The portal of rage has shown you what it feels like to be untamed, unfiltered, and completely alive in your power. But the final ritual is something else entirely. The Shadow Crown, how the final ritual unlocks psychic sight and your hidden command over reality. By now, the shift has already begun. You've looked into your own soul through the eyes of the mirror of reversal. You've screamed into the void and felt it scream back through the portal of rage. And now, you stand at the final gate, the place where shadow becomes sovereignty. Most people never make it this far. Not because they aren't chosen, but because they refuse the crown. You see, this part isn't about release. It's about reception. It's about stepping into the frequency where you no longer chase power, because you are power. Not the kind that controls others, the kind that commands realities. The Shadow Crown ritual is the final convergence. The moment where your inner dark, your pain, your psychic sight, your ancient knowing fuses into a singular force. And once you wear it, nothing is ever the same. Before I teach you this final ritual, you must understand something crucial. Psychic power is not about seeing spirits or reading minds. That's surface-level magic. The real power is pattern recognition. It's the ability to see the structure of timelines, to feel the outcome of a decision before it's made, to watch people's energy reveal their truth before they speak a word. That's what the Shadow Crown activates. And it doesn't give you sight, it removes the veil. It allows you to perceive not just what's real, but what's true. And once you see truth at that level, it becomes impossible to live a lie, especially your own. The final ritual begins at night, under an open sky if possible. You'll need a black obsidian or onyx stone, something that holds the frequency of depth, silence, reflection. Light a fire. If you can't, a candle will do. Sit cross-legged. Place the stone in your left hand and rest it over your heart. Your right hand should be palm down on the earth. Breathe. Then speak these words slowly and with full intention. I call upon the aspect of me that sees what others fear to see. I welcome the crown that was forged in silence. I choose the truth, no matter the cost. Now, close your eyes, and for the next 13 minutes, you do nothing but listen. Not to music, not to thoughts, but to the language beneath thought. You may feel tingling in your forehead. You may have visions. You may feel absolutely nothing. That's okay. The energy is working regardless, because what you're doing in this moment is granting your higher system permission to download authority. Not external, internal. You are programming your own field to remember its role not as a seeker, but as a sovereign. And then the visions begin, not just during the ritual, but in the days that follow. You'll begin to know things before they happen. You'll dream of people you haven't met yet. You'll walk into rooms and feel the unspoken dynamics before anyone opens their mouth. You'll start to see the architecture of energy, how people create stories to hide their wounds, how systems manipulate frequency to control minds. how your own intuition has been right the entire time. This isn't fantasy. This is high-level shadow integration. And once it's activated, you can't turn it off. But why would you want to? With the Shadow Crown, you are no longer a participant in the game. You are a codex, a signal, a conscious disruptor of distortion. But the crown is not just a gift, it is a burden. Because from this moment forward, your choices must be clean. Not perfect, but pure. You don't get to lie to yourself anymore. You don't get to pretend you don't know. Your sight becomes responsibility. And if you misuse it, the shadow will humble you. Not to punish, but to refine. Because the more power you carry, the more alignment is demanded. So here is the final question, perhaps the most dangerous of all. What would happen if you stopped pretending you don't know who you are? If you stopped hiding behind healing and finally stepped into command? What would your life become if you chose to wear the crown and never take it off? Not as ego, but as essence. Not to rule others, but to rule yourself. The world doesn't need more light workers who bypass the dark. It needs shadow masters who can hold the chaos and still speak truth. It needs you not in fragments, but in fullness, crowned, clear, completely unapologetic about your power. You've crossed all three thresholds now. You've reawakened the mirror. You've unlocked the portal. You've claimed the crown. And now, you're not just chosen. You are activated. You are the storm and the calm, the void and the voice, the darkness that dreams in alignment with divine order. Go now, and let them feel what happens when a chosen one comes out of hiding, not to be seen, but to remember. Because when you wear your shadow like a crown, the world bows to your frequency. The rise of the Shadow Sovereign. What happens after you activate all three dark rituals? Now that the three shadow rituals have been completed, you are no longer who you were. You've crossed the sacred threshold that separates the seeker from the sovereign. The moment you looked into the mirror of reversal and reclaimed the fragments of your forgotten self, the old timeline began to collapse. When you screamed through the portal of rage and transmuted ancient pain into raw command, your aura became a weapon of clarity. And when you placed the shadow crown upon your inner throne, your soul's true frequency, unfiltered, unbound, undeniable, began to pulse through every layer of your being. But what happens now? After the fire? After the tears? After the silence? This is the part no one talks about. Because integration is not as flashy as initiation. It's deeper. It's quieter. And it's where your real power begins. Because now the world responds to you differently, not because you're louder, but because you've become undeniable. The first thing you'll experience in this phase is energetic rejection from false realities. Systems, people, beliefs, anything that vibrates inauthentically will begin to fall away. Not by force, but by frequency mismatch. You'll try to go back to old relationships, old jobs, old versions of yourself, and they simply won't hold. Conversations will feel hollow. Spaces will feel suffocating. You'll realize that it's not that the world changed, it's that your field did. You've become a living oracle of resonance. And now, only what's aligned can stay. This may feel lonely at first. Do not mistake that loneliness for loss. It's sacred space being cleared for what is true. You're not being abandoned, you're being repositioned. And soon new people, new missions, new timelines will begin to materialize around your upgraded signature. But only if you have the courage to keep your crown on, even when no one else sees it. The second thing that happens is the awakening of your psychic command over your own timeline. You'll start to notice that your thoughts manifest faster. Your intuition becomes precise. You'll think of someone, then they call. You'll feel a shift, and a global event confirms it. You are no longer just reacting to life. You are now co-authoring it. The rituals didn't just give you insight, they gave you access. Access to the blueprint behind the physical. Access to the astral architecture that governs the flow of energy, creation, and consequence. But with that access comes responsibility. You must now guard your mind like a sacred temple. No more careless thoughts. No more emotional leaks. No more playing small to make others comfortable. Your frequency is now a transmitter. Every emotion is a spell. Every word is a contract. Every silence is a declaration. You are no longer allowed to forget what you've become. Not because it's a rule, but because forgetting would cost you your new reality. And finally, the most powerful transformation, you become a living sigil of shadow mastery. Without effort, you begin to radiate a presence that exposes the truth in others. People may confess things to you they've never told anyone. They may project onto you, challenge you, even fear you, not because of what you do, but because of what you reveal. Your field becomes a mirror where others see their own masks. And this is where true leadership begins, not in control, but in clarity. You don't need titles. You don't need stages. You simply walk, and the path shifts. You speak, and the room recalibrates. You breathe, and healing begins. This is not fantasy. This is frequency physics. You've become the embodiment of integration, the bridge between shadow and sovereignty. And now, your very existence becomes a ritual in motion. Every day, every step, every breath an act of anchoring the dark divine into a world that has forgotten how to hold it. So let me ask you one final question, the kind that can't be answered with words, only with embodiment. Now that you know what you are, what will you do with it? Will you continue to dim your fire, to make your shadow palatable, to play the role of the light worker who fears their own depth? Or will you rise as the sovereign you were always meant to be? Will you walk with the power of the mirror, the portal, and the crown, fully aware that your presence alone is a disruption to every system built on illusion? The rituals are done. The path is open. The world is trembling. And the throne is waiting, not out there, but within you. Will you sit? Will you rule? Not over others, but over yourself. Because the era of hiding is over. The age of the shadow sovereign has begun, and you are the storm they never saw coming.